Alright everyone, welcome back. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I last posted a video. Sorry about that, but took a much needed break away from uploading in general kind of internet stuff, with the Christmas New Year's period being the perfect time for it. But let's be honest, it's not like you've missed much, as the news for Division 2 has been very bare. There's been no official news. Today what I want to cover is a few things that have been kind of talked about on Twitter mainly, including the Glia Mask Bug. There's a new job position that's just opened up recently within Massive, and I want to talk about that and what that means, plus a little bit more. So drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all my videos, and let's get into the first video of 2022. To start off with then, the Chill Out Mask. This is the holiday event mask, which, if you didn't know, just like the Slayer weapon, is exclusive to the holiday period. So if you don't have it, I recommend going out and getting it right away. We don't have an official kind of confirmed end date for the holiday event, but it's usually towards the end of January, the start of kind of February, so you've probably got at least 3 or 4 weeks in order to get that. Now, when it first dropped, I think most people were a little intrigued because this is the first and only, apparently, piece of gear with 2 mod slots. There's nothing in the works to have another piece of gear with 2 mod slots, and that's what makes it unique. Unfortunately, this was short-lived, as players quickly noticed the mask had no talent, and just like me, who covered this in a previous video and talked about it, thought this was intentional from the devs, meaning the mask had very limited usage. It was basically an improvised mask with 1 attribute and 2 mod slots, rather than the 2 attributes and 1 mod slot. Well, good news, this is just a bug. Yannick recently said this on Twitter. The missing Glia bonus is a bug. We'll have a fix for it in our next patch. Now, we don't have any news on when that next patch will come. I suspect it will be towards the end of this month, or maybe towards the end of next month. Now, Gilligard is not exactly the best gear brand there is, but this bug means the Chill Out Mask will be much more viable once it has been fixed, having the talents from Glia, 1 attribute and 2 mod slots. I can definitely see some people using this in builds, maybe replacing out Glia pieces they already have with this, and this could possibly be best in slot for a couple of builds. Now, I wasn't going to grind for another, to be honest, but with this news, I'm going to have to, because who knows, Glia or Armour might get a buff with the next major update. Well, I hope so, and I still have my fingers crossed for that, because I still think that Glia, among other brands, they're underpowered, they're underutilized, and I think they need some love, and the next major content update would be the perfect time to do it. Next up, and another job opening has opened up with Massive working on the Division 2, posted by Massive on their Twitter account. They're after a senior or expert game designer, as they like to call it. The job opening description doesn't reveal anything except the team working on the Division 2 is small, but I think we all knew that anyway. I only really wanted to cover this because this is another job opening in only a few months, with most of the positions being filled. I'm seeing this as a positive indication of Massive's ambition to get the right people working on this project. Now, I'm sure you could look at this in a negative way. You could say perhaps people are leaving and having to fill those positions, but I only know of one other expert game designer that's working on the Division 2, and that's Trick Dempsey, and I know he's still working on it. So it could be that they need someone else to kind of lighten the load for Trick, and that's why they're employing someone else. And to me, that's actually a good thing, the fact that they are employing more people. Recently, we had, I think there was a brand manager, I believe there's a new marketing director. I think they've even got an international kind of manager opening at the moment on their website. So they're certainly looking for new staff, and I think that's a good thing. Now, of course, it is already over a year into them making this new content, so you can kind of look at that and go, well, why weren't people employed sooner? But I think that sometimes you don't know that you need someone until the need arises, right? So in this case, it appears they need more people working on it. That's probably why the game has been delayed. They need some more hands-on. And so I'm happy that they're employing more people. I would hate to see no jobs posted for this and the game being delayed. The fact that the game's been delayed and there are jobs being posted, to me, is probably a good thing. Moving on, and recently a Twitter user asked Yannick if there were any plans for next-gen visual enhancements with the new update and the possibility of crossplay. Yannick replied with the following: "We have no next-gen visual improvements planned at the moment regarding crossplay. This is also something we're not planning. More on this here." And then he goes to a quote that he did actually, or a tweet he did only a couple of months ago, where it says, "We have different databases per platform that don't communicate with each other. Changing that means completely overhauling our online infrastructure. Not impossible, but a huge amount of work." And that's not even talking about the risks that come with migrating existing saves. Now, this might not be news to many of you, as this second tweet from Yannick, I believe, was from September of last year. But I wanted to highlight this again for anyone who didn't know, because there are new people joining this franchise every single day. I mean, if you go on the forums, especially after Christmas, you'll just see new player here, I need some help. And that seems to be happening often, not just at Christmas time actually with this game, but often, especially when there's a sale. So for anyone who didn't know that, there's your answer. I do have to admit, whilst I understand the amount of work required to bring us crossplay, and I'd much rather than spend that time on, making new content as good and as full as possible, it is a little disappointing that we won't get crossplay. It's actually the biggest obstacle for me to move over from Xbox to PlayStation. So fingers crossed it happens eventually, either with the Division 2 or, God forbid, we get a Division 3. I don't actually think that's ever going to happen, especially with the news with Star Wars and all that sort of stuff. If it does happen, it'll probably happen in, 5 to 10 years. Hopefully it does. I mean, I do want to see the Division flourish as much as possible, and I do have a video coming out soon talking about why 2022 could be a huge year for the Division franchise. But the Division 3 is unlikely to happen anytime soon. If it does, though, it should have crossplay. And it will be next-gen only, I imagine. That's it today, though, everyone. Just a short video, as there really isn't much kind of news to cover. And I'm getting back into the groove of posting content. If there are any topics that you want me to cover, please leave them in the comments down below. I think my next video will talk about what this year has planned. Like I said, I do think 2022 will be a good year for the Division franchise. And there's actually quite a lot going on as well. So I'm actually really excited to see where this franchise is heading. 2021 is behind us, thankfully. And let's hope these extra months massive are taken to make sure the new content is as good as possible comes to fruition. It's New Year, so I want to be as positive as I possibly can be. Thank you for all your Christmas messages and New Year's messages, whether that be in response to my community posts here on YouTube, or if you just reached out to me on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, please do at Epic Slayers. A lot of the stuff that I talk about in these videos actually goes up on Twitter first. So yeah, head on over there and reach out to me on there. Really appreciate all the love. And until the next one, guys, Epic out.